Africa region at this hour. As we move on to our first conversation here on Parliament West Africa, Bertrand Martin, the Senior Vice President for Africa Bureau Veritas, says to facilitate trade between countries, good quality products are essential while ensuring standards in promoting intra-Africa trade. He believes instilling quality assurance and regulatory standards is an ongoing process. He joins me now for this discussion. Thank you so much for your time today on the show, sir. Interesting topic when you talk about trade and when you look at the progress made so far with the AFCFTA. And I'd like you to speak to the progress of this trade pact and the amount of work that still needs to be done to get the desired outcomes that we want.
Thank you, Kenneth, for this invitation. I'm very pleased to be with you today. So that's clear that the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement becomes a reality. Government and business need to be aware of product standard regulation to protect traders and society. So just to give you some rough figure on that, why is so important? Today, 85% of export from Africa go to countries outside Africa. And 45% of medication are counterfeit of expired one. So we cannot continue like this. So really, I think the government are pushing for more standard, more regulation on that, in order to put all Africa's countries on the same line at the beginning. So standard is a very important point indeed to compare because, for example, when I'm speaking of products going to other countries in Africa, 85%, it's incredible. Sometimes that arrive in a country in Europe, they control the product, and after that, it's not compliant with European regulation. Due to that, they resold this product to another African country. That's impossible. So we have to change that. So the first thing is to apply standard, to define the standard, and to control the standard. It's what we are doing in Bureau Veritas. Every day, we are controlling that we are applying all the standard. Yeah, because it's very important.
I hear you when you say standards are important, but when you look at achieving the standards that we desire, we cannot do that alone. There are a lot of partnerships that need to be struck across board. And I'd like you to speak to that, the importance of partnerships in driving these standards that we want for our goods when we try to export them.
A very good question, Kenneth, that's true. So, for example, we'll give you, we need partners, we need collaboration, we need with a strong institution. I will give you only one example. It's a very nice one. It's the agreement we had with Afreximbank, the African Export-Import Bank. Is a Pan-African financial institution, so very strong. And we have collaborated with them in Nigeria to develop the first African Quality Assurance Center, a laboratory, to do what? To test the compliance of agriculture and food product for made in Africa product. And after that, we export that. So the idea of Afreximbank with us is to expand this partnership. It's very important because if we want to do that, the objective of the African Continental Free Trade Area is not an objective for tomorrow. We have to construct projects on a long-term basis, and with support investment like Afreximbank, we could develop much more projects. So that's one part. I think this partnership. The second one is to create the ecosystem of new standards. You're right when you are saying we need all the standards. It's really the good one to put in place. That's why we are launching TIC Test Inspection Certification Council for Africa. I'm the chairman of this. And the objective is to help the stakeholder to put in place a good standard in Africa and to control that and to try to help them to see why they need that and how to organize that. I will take very shortly 3 main topics for me in order to facilitate this trade in between Africa. First one, with the T Council, we insist in the infrastructure. That's fundamental. If you are making trading, we need port, airport, road, railway. So we are here, the T Council, to advise the government in order to define the standard for that. Because when we'll construct a road in Nigeria or Côte d'Ivoire, we have to construct this road for 40 or 50 years, like in other countries in the world. Second very important topic is the sustainability. I think Africa can play a big role in this sustainability because we can, for example, if European company want to develop some project in Africa, they could do that on a sustainable way and to have credit, bond, to support this project. And that will help Africa. So that's the second topic. And for example, the TIC Council Africa will work on the green bond, and it will be interesting for Africa. And the third one is cybersecurity for critical assets.
Okay.
There is some damage some weeks ago on airport, on cyber attacks. So our sector is well known to make diagnosis, to make stress tests, to give all the elements in order to construct a regulation around cybersecurity. It will be part of our job. And all that, if you see, that will be to support the trade intra-Africa.
Yeah, very interesting areas there when you look at the scope ahead for the TIC Council, infrastructure, sustainability, cybersecurity, very key areas when you look at this. But for me, I'm trying to have a bird's eye view of trade on the continent. And I'm trying to imagine the amount of regulations people have to deal with when they have to deal with trade on the continent. How best do you think we can then harmonize all of this to improve transparency across board?
Yes, you're right. That's a big topic. So I think, and in Bureau Veritas, it's what we are pushing, we have to apply same standard when it's possible. We've got a lot of same standard all over the world, well-known, ISO standard or other type of standard. For sure, we have to try to put in place the same standard all over Africa. That's very important. After that, we need to have very strong laboratory, for example, respecting a state of the art to make the control in a country in the same way you will do the control in another country, to be sure that we align the control at the exportation and the control in the importation of the country. So all that, there are mechanisms, but that's well known all over the world. We are working, you know, Bureau Veritas, we are in 140 countries with more than 400,000 clients. And we are dealing with this type of topic every day. When I'm controlling something in Paris, that should be the same control than in Lagos, in Dakar, or in Joburg. So it's very important. It's a way of thinking. But you're right, that's a topic where we have to work around that.
Yeah, definitely quite a lot I'd have loved to bring up on this interview, but I think we're fast running out of time. I'd have loved to get your thoughts around food safety and how best to minimize the risk across the value chain. But unfortunately, time is up. I'm sure we can book that for another session later on. But thank you so much for your time on the show today. I've been speaking to Bertrand Martin. He's the Senior Vice President for Africa at Bureau Veritas. Let's take a quick break down Power Launch West Africa.